Hello, everyone. We are just having a giggle fest here. Just before we started, we were talking about kisses and how I was saying kisses make the world go round. It's the spreading of love. And what was it you said?
Well, you said something about our dog Thor.
I said, oh yeah, kisses make the world go round. Ask a dog, because they love to give kisses. And what was it you said?
I said, for Thor, kisses make his butt itch less.
Yeah, we're being comical tonight. So, hello everyone. Today we are doing lesson 94. I am as God created me. And the correlating chapter text, chapter 9, the acceptance of the atonement, section 3, the correction of error. Shall we begin? Oh, Alex.
The correction of error. 1. The alertness of the ego to the errors of other egos is not the kind of vigilance the Holy Spirit would have you maintain. Funny, we were just talking about that, weren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Egos are critical in terms of the kind of sense they stand for. They understand this kind of sense because it is sensible to them. To the Holy Spirit, it makes no sense at all. To the ego, it is kind and right and good to point out errors and correct them. This makes perfect sense to the ego, which is unaware of what errors are and what correction is. Errors are of the ego, and correction of errors lies in the relinquishment of the ego. When you correct a brother, you are telling him that he is wrong. He may be making no sense at the time, and it is certain that if he is speaking from the ego, he will not be making sense. But your task is still to tell him he is right. You do not tell him this verbally if he is speaking foolishly. He needs correction at another level because his error is at another level. He is still right because he is a son of God. His ego is always wrong, no matter what it says or does.
So, I want to point something out here, folks. You know how we're talking about questioning everything? Here is a contradiction. Right here, in paragraph 2, where it tells you you're witnessing your brother in error. Your brother is in his insane mind. And yet you can't give correction to your brother or say anything to them, because if you do so, you're telling them they're wrong. Because you're going to be in your ego mind if you see that they're in error. That is a concept misperceived. It's when you are able to see things truly, when you have accepted the correction for yourself, you are able to witness the errors in thinking that your brothers are holding. You can witness this and recognize it for what it is. Now, I think that the thing that was trying to be said here is that the correction to be given in those moments is not to tell your brother they're wrong, but to share a different perspective and level of understanding. It is when we Listen to hear where they're at, no matter the circumstances they are going through. And if you can find within yourself, in your own experiences, something that correlates and is similar, that you've had to look at and heal, in that way you can offer them a correction to their perceptions. This is how you offer the correction without telling them they are wrong. That's what that's getting at. In those moments, whatever they're choosing to believe is their choice. They are allowed to believe as they are. Even if you understand and witness in those moments that they are completely insane and in their ego mind. It's recognizing that in those moments you are to share an understanding and a truth with them. And allow them to either accept or deny it. It is their choice. When they are ready to hear the truth, it will play back in their mind, and they will then understand fully what it was you were trying to say to them. But it's that sharing of perspective, of understanding, of experience, that will offer the correction without telling them they are wrong. That is what it was trying to point out there.
You know, I have to agree with you that this paragraph and what it says,
it's convoluted.
Never really felt right to me.
It's convoluted.
And I've had people on Facebook who felt that I was wrong tell me that I'm right because I believe that they were actually trying to follow this idea. And it didn't work out in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
There's no way it can work out for you to tell another brother that he's right when he's wrong, because he will continue thinking wrongly and doing the wrong thing.
Exactly. And what comes from that, when you tell them, oh yes, you're right, you're absolutely right, you make real what is not for them and for you.
Yes. You know, I think what the intention of this paragraph was it was to point out that it's not a matter of right and wrong or good and bad. Like, you can be wrong about something, but it doesn't make you bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like just because you're wrong that you're a bad person. Right?
Correct.
And so I think the point is that someone is not bad just because they're wrong. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I see what you're saying. You know, the beliefs that we hold that define us and define the world around us and our brothers, those judgments that we base everything on are what color our purview of what's going on around us. And it's that coloring of everything that we are pulling back with these lessons, this reading the text. It's teaching us how to pull back those layers that we've been taught and to see past them to the truth. And as Alex was just saying, you cannot sit there making real for your brother when they are in their wrong mind with ego by telling them they are correct. That does them no service at all. It does them a disservice and you a disservice. Now, what I was just sharing a moment ago about sharing your own experiences, what that comes from is learning to stand in your own light of truth, By going within and looking at your own experiences and sharing them, you're standing in your light of truth, of what you understand and know to be true. Doesn't make them wrong, and it doesn't make you wrong in any way. Doesn't make them right, and it doesn't make you right. It's simply showing another way of seeing something. And that is the correction that they're talking about there, that they're trying to allude to. It's recognizing that in any given moment, you are perfect, and if you're perfect, so is your brother. If you are sinless and innocent, so is your brother. Just because you don't agree with something they do does not make it wrong.
Every holy son of God has the right to think and believe as he does.
And to experience and do as they so choose. The key here is they're not supposed to infringe on another's free will. It's only when they're infringing on somebody else's free will, stopping somebody else from being able to do, say, think, and be whatever it is they choose to be.
One of the things that's coming to mind is Christianity is one of them, but there's other religions that do this too, where they will go out and they will see another group of people who may have a different belief system, a different religion, and they will go there and they will, with the intention that they're going to teach them the truth.
Convert
them. And if it takes conquering them to do it, they'll do so. And they think that they are acting out of righteousness because in order to save their brothers, they need to get them to think correctly, to think right.
Mm-hmm.
And what's coming up for me in this is that this is the correction of that kind of thinking.
Exactly. That is exactly what this is.
Yes.
It's recognizing that you do not have a right to tell your brother anything.
Right.
And they have no right to tell you anything.
Yes.
And it's recognizing anytime your brother opens their mouth and starts spewing their opinions and judgments, that they are only telling you in those moments what they are thinking and believing about themselves, about who they think and believe they are. That they are unable to see that their brother is exactly as they are.
And there's nothing wrong with our brothers who are thinking the way they're thinking, even if their thinking is not in alignment with the truth.
Exactly. It's their choice to do so. And there's nothing wrong with that. This is why we have the free will, to pick and choose what it is that resonates in our own hearts as being right for us. If they want to continue doing what they're doing and have it cause them pain and suffering, that is their choice. You have no right to take that from them. You can share the truth by standing in your light of truth, but recognize once you have shared whatever it is, at that moment, it's done. You've stood in your light of truth. If they accept it, fine. If they deny it, fine. It's not up to you. You put it out there. All right, please continue.
By the way, before I do, I just want to mention, I've seen this paragraph many, many times. It's come up in group discussions, in Pal Talk, Awakening Together, and such.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it has caused a lot of confusion.
Mm-hmm. There was a twisting of the words that have caused a lot of it.
Right.
Where the people that were putting it down, editing, whatever, they weren't understanding what it was saying and they did not write it correctly.
You know, I don't know where the error occurred. I don't know if Jesus actually 100% knows what he's talking about, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I've felt myself misled by ACIM in several different places. Now, some of those misleadings were because of other teachers' misperceptions about what the Course was saying. But I'm not entirely convinced that Jesus knows the whole truth, nothing but the truth, and the absolute truth.
I get you. Yeah, it comes back to that following blindly. And when we first started this course, that's what you were doing. You were following blindly.
Yes, I believed in this course 100%.
Yeah.
And it caused me great suffering and pain and to be in a suicidal state for 6 months. I don't know that I've ever felt suicidal before doing this course. So this course can be detrimental to one's health if you just blindly follow and believe everything that it says, and that everything that the teachers say that it says.
Yeah, because with as many misperceptions as I find my brothers holding that say they're teachers of this course, and the egoisms that they extend continuously.
Enlightened egos.
Yeah, with all of their judgments and opinions about this and that. It makes me wonder who taught them. And when I ask myself that question, it always comes back to Ken Wapnick.
Yes.
And that he is the one that is the king of misperceptions here. And that's something that a lot of folks can't seem to grasp, that he had misperceptions. They hold him up on this pedestal as being this person that did not have any flaws, did not have any misperceptions. And yet, I keep getting told that if he died of disease, he had misperceptions.
I'm not so sure about that. I guess he did have cancer, didn't he?
Yes.
Wapnick, yeah.
Throat cancer, if I'm correct.
Interesting.
Uh-huh.
Because he sure did a lot of talking.
Uh-huh. Of untruth.
Right.
And it's that untruth that we speak that manifests the diseases within us, the illnesses. Acid reflux, gout, irritable bowel syndrome, ulcers. All of the stuff that we are judging creates the diseases and sicknesses within our bodies. The more we believe in those things as being the absolute truth, the sicker we get. The more problems we have with our physical bodies, in our lives, and with the people around us. Please continue.
If you point out the errors in your brother's ego, you must be seeing through yours, because the Holy Spirit does not perceive his errors. This must be true, since there is no communication between the ego and the Holy Spirit. The ego makes no sense, and the Holy Spirit does not attempt to understand anything that arises from it. Since he does not understand it, he does not judge it, knowing that nothing the ego makes means anything. Now, again here, I'm not so sure that Jesus has a complete understanding of the truth. He does understand the basics that Holy Spirit that doesn't see errors, but Holy Spirit does see errors. He does see the lack thereof the truth. He does see the thinking behind our actions and our reactions. He's
and
not blind.
Yeah, he understands that we are holding a misperception, and he offers us the correction.
And how could the Holy Spirit possibly offer us the correction unless he can see both sides of the coin
and judge it truly?
Yes.
And it's already stated that Holy Spirit will judge it and judge it truly. In the previous thing, like from yesterday or the day before. This comes back to the whole editing thing. And it may not be Jesus that's making the fuck ups here, but Ken.
That's possible.
Because remember, Ken Wapnick does not believe in Jesus.
Right, I understand that. The thing is these words are written in Helen's notes. And so it's hard to say that Ken Wapnick had anything to do with it. Okay. I've looked and looked and looked many times, particularly in areas like this, that the words don't make sense, they don't resonate, they don't feel right.
And this is why we're supposed to question it.
Yes.
Not just blindly follow and accept it. This whole shit that you were talking about is because we chose to blindly follow it and believe and accept whatever this was saying as being the absolute truth.
And my blindly following and believing led me to believe that I was going to go to Las Vegas, that I was going to go to Hawaii, that I was going to go on a cruise, that I was going to go to Mexico, all last year, and none of it happened. And so it's like, show me untruth enough times, show me the pain that results from it, have me experience the pain that results from it, and I'm going to be a little bit skeptical next time. Because I'll tell you what, I do not want to go through the pain that I went through last year. And then I still go through, and then I was even thinking about tonight, while going for my walk. Yeah. It's something I think about often. That kind of pain that's caused by that level of misperception as to what the truth is and what my, quote, guides are saying and guiding me to do and where to go and what's going to happen and what's not going to happen.
There's something about it that makes me hear inside, like, it's our choices to think and believe and to place value on the material world and what we think all these things are going to mean to us. Like they are going to help us escape from all of the hell that we're in. And it's because we've made those kinds of choices in our own minds that causes us to do that fucking tailspin spiral every fucking time.
We believe what we want to believe is what you're saying.
Yeah. We believe what it is we want to believe.
Right. I wanted to believe that I was going to go to Hawaii. I wanted to believe that I was going to be able to go on a cruise. So it was very easy for me to be led down that path.
Yes. Yeah. Very easy because he wanted to believe. Didn't matter if it was true or not, but he wanted to believe it. And that's where a lot of our brothers are right now. In this desperate need to believe in something just to make their pain and suffering stop. And they're not understanding that it's what they're choosing to believe in that's causing their pain and suffering. All right, please continue.
When you react at all to errors, you are not listening to the Holy Spirit. He is merely disregarding them, and if you attend to them, you are not hearing Him. If you do not hear Him, you are listening to your ego and making as little sense as the brother whose errors you perceive. This cannot be correction. Yet it is more than merely a lack of correction for him. It is the giving up of correction in yourself. When a brother behaves insanely, you can heal him only by perceiving the sanity in him. If you perceive his errors and accept them, you are accepting yours. If you want to give yours over to the Holy Spirit, you must do this with his. Unless this becomes the only way in which you handle all errors, you cannot understand how all errors are undone. How is this different from telling you that what you teach, you learn? Your brother is as right as you are, and if you think he is wrong, you are condemning yourself.
It comes back, folks, to what I was speaking of about allowing them to believe as they choose. When you deny your brother, you deny yourself. If you want to believe as you choose, you need to allow them to believe as they choose. It's reciprocate. You get it? It's reciprocate. You got to give in order to receive.
Yes, because the outside world is an outward projection of an inward condition. So every person that I see out there, interact with, is the same as a thought within me, an idea within me.
Mm-hmm.
And as I judge my own thoughts, ideas, and self is how I
Judge them.
And if I want to relinquish judgment, then I need to relinquish judgment of my brothers.
Well, you need to relinquish judgment of yourself.
Absolutely. That's what I mean.
Actually, it's relinquishing of the judgments of yourself first that allows you to relinquish your judgments of your brothers.
It goes both ways. For you, you come in from a different angle. For me, I look out. For me, it started with seeing every brother as a holy son of God before I could see myself as a holy son of God.
I understand. But the shift that needs to happen is the looking within and only within to be able to understand.
No.
It's that looking within with and going to Holy Spirit and not looking out to your brothers for the answers anymore.
No, it can go both ways.
Well, I'm talking about what this is talking about is it's constantly telling us that instead of looking out there in the world, we're to look within to Holy Spirit for the answers.
This paragraph didn't talk about looking within. It talked about the way you look at your brothers and how that affects how you look within.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm referring to.
Okay. Well, I was not thinking about that portion.
Okay. May I continue?
Yes.
You cannot correct yourself. Is it possible then for you to correct another? I don't know if I believe that. When I was sitting here looking at the wires the other night for the lights, I looked at it and made my own self-correction as to my thinking.
Actually, you were looking within at what had been said that night, and you realized that there was a misperception.
The sentence says you cannot correct yourself.
Yeah, and it's true.
Oh, did I not correct myself with
no,
my error?
because you actually looked within.
Then I corrected myself.
So you're saying you don't ever look to Holy Spirit for guidance or for correction?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that, did I? I said I looked at those wires and I came to the self-realization that I was wrong earlier about me saying that cord wouldn't reach that plug.
Okay.
So again, I doubt the premise that he's starting the whole idea off of in the paragraph. I'll go ahead and finish the paragraph, but I just wanted to let it be known that why can't I correct myself?
I know when I look within, I get the correction to my own misperceptions.
So then you corrected yourself by looking within.
I don't see it as me correcting myself. I see it as me going within and looking with Holy Spirit at it and seeing it with His eyes.
Yeah, well, you have a feeling like you have Holy Spirit with you as a guide. I have a feeling like I've been abandoned for the entirety of this. You may call it a choice, but it is based on the experience that I had by being led down a path that led to pain and suffering because I believed that I had guides that were leading me down a path towards happiness and joy, not pain and suffering.
I understand, honey.
I'm going to continue this paragraph.
Okay.
I'm going to start over, actually. You cannot correct yourself. Is it possible, then, for you to correct another? Yet you can see him truly because it is possible for you to see yourself truly. It is not up to you to change your brother, but merely to accept him as he is. His errors do not come from the truth that is in him, and only this truth is yours. His errors cannot change this, and he can have no effect at all on the truth in you. To perceive errors in anyone and to react to them as if they were real is to make them real to you. You will not escape paying the price for this, not because you are being punished for it, but because you are following the wrong guide and will therefore lose your way.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I keep hearing, is that you've been following the wrong guide.
Whatever. Your brother's errors are not of him any more than yours are of you. Accept his errors as real, and you have attacked yourself. You would find your way and keep it. See only the truth beside you, for you walk together. The Holy Spirit in you forgives all things in you and in your brother. His errors are forgiven with yours. Atonement is no more separate than love. Atonement cannot be separate because it comes from love. Any attempt you make to correct a brother means that you believe correction by you is possible, and this can only be arrogance of the ego. Correction is of God, who does not know of arrogance. Speaking of this paragraph, that the paragraph itself feels arrogant. The Holy Spirit forgives everything because God created everything. Do not undertake his function, or you will forget yours. Accept only the function of healing in time, because that is what time is for. God gave you the function to create in eternity. You do not need to learn that, but you do need to learn to want it. For that, all learning was made. This is the Holy Spirit's use of an ability that you do not need, but that you made. Give it to him. You do not understand how to use it. He will teach you how to see yourself without condemnation by learning how to look on everything without it. Condemnation will then not be real to you, and all your errors will be forgiven.
So it's learning to see without judgment, without judging yourself. Because when you can stop judging yourself, you can stop judging your brothers. It's those condemnations we hold against ourselves, that we're not good enough, we're not this, we're a burden, we're all these different things. It's like that little voice that's in the back of your head constantly telling you what a piece of shit you are. How you'll never be good enough, you'll never amount to anything.
I've heard that voice before. Many times from my dad.
Mm-hmm. When we receive correction there, folks, as it was saying in paragraph 7, that any corrections that we receive are of God in how we're choosing to perceive something. That the corrections aren't coming of ourselves, they're coming of God.
Bullshit.
That's what it's trying to say there. You can believe it or not. But,
yeah, and I don't.
Okay. That's fine, Alex. You don't have to be angry with me, though.
Who says I'm angry with you? I'm angry at Jesus, who is just as arrogant as he is talking about arrogance.
Okay. All right, folks, that was Chapter 9, The Acceptance of the Atonement, Section 3, The Correction of Error. Let's move on to the lesson of the day. Lesson 94.
Lesson 94. I am as God created me. Today we will continue with the one idea which brings complete salvation, the one statement which makes all forms of temptation powerless, the one thought which renders the ego silent and entirely undone. You are as God created you. The sounds of this world are still. The sights of this world disappear, and all the thoughts that this world ever held are wiped away forever by this one idea. I just want to call bullshit again. Here is salvation accomplished. Here is sanity restored. True light is strength. Strength is sinlessness. If you remain as God created you, you must be strong, and light must be in you. He who ensured your sinlessness must be the guarantee of strength and light as well. You are as God created you. Darkness cannot obscure the glory of God's Son. You stand in light, strong in the sinlessness in which you were created, and in which you will remain throughout eternity.
So what it's talking about there is that everything that you are believing to be true about you it's like, question it. Because here he's telling us that we're sinless, we are unlimited, we are powerful, we are loved, we have strength.
And he also interjects misperceptions by saying shit like, the sounds of this world are still, the sights of this world disappear, and all the thoughts of this world ever held are wiped away forever by this one idea. And so many times in so many lessons, the lesson itself implies that you could just simply wake up from this illusion, from this dream, if you just accepted this one idea. And then the next morning when you wake up and you're still here, you think, oh, I've failed.
That's because you're choosing to believe that the world's going to go poof and be gone.
And that's because
because you blindly followed somebody else.
No, that's because there are sentences like this in this course, throughout the course, which are misleading.
Honey, everything is a choice. You are choosing to believe and be angry at all of it. It's your choice.
You're calling passion anger. You're calling You're calling me standing up and saying, no, this is wrong. This doesn't resonate with me. This doesn't feel right. You're calling that anger. I'm saying, no, that's not anger. That's me saying, no, I'm not going to be passive and passively just accept everything this course says anymore.
Then why are you yelling?
Because I'm passionate about it. Because this is something that has caused me great pain over the 4 years of doing this course. And I don't wish that kind of pain on any student of the course. And I don't wish any student to think that they could just wake up in heaven and this world will all be a dream tomorrow morning. And I don't want them to experience the pain and suffering that I experienced day in and day out. You know, there's people that have been doing this course for 30 years and they still think that the purpose of the course is to wake up from the dream. And then they'll go out telling students that they're doing it wrong.
I know. And that's what we're correcting here, Alex.
Right. So you ask me why I'm angry. I'm angry because this has caused me so much pain.
Yeah. So you don't deny it now that you are angry about it.
No, I don't deny it now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love you.
I love you too.
Please continue.
Today we will again devote the first 5 minutes of each waking hour to the attempt to feel the truth in you. Begin these times of searching with these words. I am as God created me. I am His Son eternally. Now try to reach the Son of God in you. This is the self that never sinned, nor made an image to replace reality. This is the self that never left its home in God to walk the world uncertainly. This is the self that knows no fear, nor could conceive of loss or suffering or death. Nothing is required of you to reach this goal except to lay all idols and self-images aside. Go past the list of attributes, both good and bad, you have ascribed to yourself, and wait in silent expectancy for the truth. God has Himself promised that it will be revealed to all who ask for it. You are asking now. You cannot fail because He cannot fail. If you do not meet the requirement for practicing for the first 5 minutes of every hour, at least remind yourself hourly, I am as God created me. I am his son eternally. Tell yourself frequently today that you are as God created you, and be sure to respond to anyone who seems to irritate you with these words. You are as God created you. You are his son eternally. And I'm interjecting, regardless if you misperceive yourself, your brothers, or the world.
Exactly.
Make every effort to do the hourly exercises today. Each one you do will be a giant stride towards your release and a milestone in learning the thought system which this course sets forth.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you for sharing where you are really at with everything. For finally being honest with yourself of where you're really at. And that you are angry about all of it and what you've been experiencing and thinking and believing.
Anger is not a persistent state of mind or state of being.
I know. But it's when we are able to accept where we are in the moment, accept responsibility for what it is we are thinking and feeling, that we're choosing to feel those things in those moments.
Mm-hmm.
It's in those moments that we are then being given an opportunity to look at it, question why we're angry in the way we are, as you were just doing, and then ask for the correction. Because as we keep hearing, if we're upset, then we're the ones with the misperception. And
my misperception is blindly following and believing just because it's a book, just because it's said that Jesus wrote this book. And having this internal belief that everything that's written here was channeled and written by Jesus, or that everything Jesus says and does is absolutely right, and he holds no misperceptions whatsoever.
Exactly. Jesus was a man. Even the spirits that cross over, folks, have misperceptions. They have the truth of things open to them, but they themselves are still learning. And that is the misperception many folks seem to have, is that spirits will know everything and be on the up and up on everything. Just like human beings that are alive here and now, they hold shit back.
And they hold misperceptions.
They view things in certain ways based on how they live their life. Now, granted, when they cross over, they have an opportunity to let go of those things and no longer stay attached to them. But there seems to be those that do stay slightly attached. There is it's weird. I'm seeing like a sheet of glass with a film over it, like a residue. Thank you. Yeah, it's each lifetime leaves a residue of energy. And that residue is what builds in the next lifetime.
I'm getting, it's like an image like sunglasses, which will darken or change the color of things. That residue will taint the truth.
Yes, and what I keep getting is each lifetime that we experience, that residue overshadows the next one because there's something that was left undone. And so what we are doing is we are going through and trying to clear out all that residue of previous misperceptions in other lifetimes or things handed over generationally from generation to generation to generation. And then we have our own choices to judge as we do. You know, like I said, my first choice to make a judgment was at 9 months. to believe that I must be deserving of this treatment that I'm getting, to be force-fed and kicked across the room. I made that choice and decision. Now, if I'm making those kinds of choices and decisions at 9 months old, what about my brothers? How many of them are making those same choices and decisions and have just never been taken back to that moment to look at it, where they chose to believe it? There are so many things that is piled one on top of another, folks. Seriously. I keep saying how I keep getting told that we are to turn within and only look to Holy Spirit for the truth. To stop seeking it out there in the world and in our brothers. And what has shown me to be that is the absolute truth is that every time that I've ever tried to go out there in the world and seek for it, all I've gotten is the pain and suffering that Alex keeps dealing with. That's all I've ever gotten by seeking out there in the world is that pain and suffering that you're dealing with constantly. The way I got that pain and suffering to stop, honey, was to stop looking out there and to start looking in here. To only look in here, to stop listening to all the bullshit all the other people out there are saying.
So then you can correct yourself, can't you?
No.
How do you look within and not correct yourself?
I look within and I hold a conversation with God and I ask and then I sit in silence and listen to the answer being given. I'm not correcting myself.
So you're saying God isn't out there? God's only in here?
God is everywhere.
So why do you have to look within and talk to God? Why can't you look within and talk to yourself?
I didn't say you can't.
Oh, okay. So why is it you can't correct yourself then?
Because if I was to go by all the shit that I have thought and believed to be true throughout my life and try to give myself corrections based on that, I won't get myself anywhere but into a grave.
That made no sense whatsoever. I didn't understand what you just said.
Okay. Think of all the shit that you think and believe to be true that you've been taught all your fucking life. Now, based on all of that kind of shit that you've been taught to think and believe to be true about you, that you're a piece of shit and everything else.
I don't believe that to be true anymore.
No, not anymore. But based on that, believing those kinds of things, now try to give yourself correction to those kinds of beliefs.
That's easy. Anytime I'm upset, I must have a misperception.
Yeah.
So I just corrected myself. If I start believing that I'm a piece of shit, that I have no value, then I apply the logic to that if I'm upset, I must hold a misperception about myself. So I just corrected myself.
Okay. That's what you want to believe, that you're the only one giving yourself correction?
I didn't say that.
Well, then that's what it sounds like you're saying, Alex.
No. I'm saying someone can correct themselves. They don't need God or Holy Spirit for self-correction.
Okay.
I mean, look at me. I've been abandoned for how long?
You haven't been abandoned. That's the thing, is you haven't. He's always been with you. You just need to understand that you're the one that chooses to keep turning away from him.
Bullshit.
Okay. I mean, if you want to believe that, that's fine. It's your choice to believe that, honey.
Okay.
It's our choices. Our choices and decisions.
Yeah, well, my path of pain has led me to my choices to believe as I do. Mm-hmm. And my path of pain has led me to believe that I've been abandoned. Because God would not put his son through as much pain as I've been through. Does God want his son to suffer?
No.
Does God want his son to be in pain?
No.
Then no, I must have been abandoned by God.
No. See, I used to think all of that too, Alex, with all the rapes, the molestations, the beatings, that God must have abandoned me and want me to be in pain and suffering. And yet, when I sat down and actually started really looking at all that shit that I was thinking and believing in there, I realized that I was the one that was abandoning God. I was the one that kept turning away and choosing to believe.
Well, then that's you.
All I know is everything keeps pointing that we are the ones making the choices and decisions to believe as we do.
Okay.
And that God has always been with us.
Sure.
That it's our choice to turn away from him.
Okay. Whatever you say.
And this, folks, is what it's like to have people on opposite sides of a coin. We see things from opposite perspectives. And that's okay. You know, everything that I'm learning and have learned is that I'm the one making all the choices and decisions in my life. To think and believe as I do. And when I willingly turned within and started looking at those things and questioning the choices I've been making, I was given the corrections. But I had to let go of everything that I was thinking and choosing to believe and assuming constantly. And as far as I understand it, as the chapter section was saying, you can't give correction. You can share, but you can't give a correction. You can't tell your brother they're wrong. In any given moment, it's a choice they're making to believe as they are. And they have to make that choice and decision. You know, to stand there and watch those you love going through the pain and suffering they're going through. And there's nothing you can do but watch it, because it's not your job and it's not your lesson to learn. It's not your work to do. It's their own. As much as you want to be able to do it all for them, you can't. And it's understanding that in everything, you're responsible for you and what you're choosing to think, believe, and do. And they are responsible for them. You can't do anything for them, and you can't make the choices and decisions for them. You can't change their mind for them. You have to allow them to be as they choose. It's that allowance that gives them room to look within themselves and to question themselves. I love you.
I love you too.
That was lesson 94. I am as God created me. With the correlating chapter text of chapter 9, the acceptance of the atonement, section 3, the correction of error. My name is Sabrina Reyenga.
And I am Alex Reyenga.
Hugs, love, light, and blessings on your journey, my brothers. Please be the light you are meant to be. Please be the light we know you to be. Please choose to be the light. You're the one making the choices and decisions here, folks. You're the one that knows what it is that's in your own heart and mind. You're the only one that can heal you. Healer, heal thyself. Blessings on your journey, my brothers. You are loved. We love you. Kisses make the world go round. Ask a dog.
Kisses make Thor's butt itch less.